Hello there friends, welcome back to the channel. My name is Sohum and today I'll be doing a triple reaction to the band. We'll listen to the songs Ophelia, Chest Fever, and Acadian Driftwood. Now, this isn't actually my first time hearing the band. I did a previous triple reaction to the band, but unfortunately YouTube blocked that video, so it's only available on Patreon. So if you're curious to hear my first time reaction to that, you can go look over there and see what I said. But, in short, kind of where I land on the band right now, I'm in many sort of mental places about it because they combine so many genres. It feels like we get a bit of soul, a bit of jazz, a bit of rock, a bit of country, a bit of blues, all blended into one crazy song. And across the three that I heard, we also got a variety there. So I don't know what to expect today, but seemingly these three songs are from their greatest hits album, so that should give us a good idea of what really makes them stand out to the masses. So I'm excited to check this out, but before we do, let's please thank Jeffrey the Thoughtful for making this donation request. As always, Jeff, it is much appreciated. But now, let's jump in. Whoa. There's a nice balance to this.
Oh, it's on the window, mail by the door. Why would anybody leave so quickly for?
Sorry to quickly pause. Are you hearing these like rolling notes on the organ?
Why would
They're in the back.
leave so quickly for? Where have you gone? The old neighborhood just ain't the same. Nobody knows just what became.
It's like a bit of Motown, maybe?
Tell me what went wrong.
It's a bit like nostalgic, but also bright.
Was it something that somebody said? Mama, I know we broke the rules. Was somebody up against the law?
Good harmony.
Honey, you know I'd die for you. Ashes of laughter, the ghost is clear.
Wow.
Why do the best things always disappear like Ophelia? Please darken my door.
I assume Ophelia is a name, so somebody he's kind of nostalgic about and pining over. It feels like relatively like not heartbroken per se, but kind of like this feeling of more heartache, I think is a better way to put it. And interestingly, the way the song feels like stylistically, again, it's like all over the place in terms of genres. I think you can draw 3 to 4 separate genres into what we're hearing with Ophelia right now. But it feels like at any given moment, there is a new instrument that is like taking the helm. It's kind of like creating, I guess, momentary climaxes, and then we kind of resolve again into this like very relaxed verse section that still has energetic drive to it. It's just not as like obvious or loud and blaring as like a high-pitched trumpet might be.
Please darken my door.
So now the guitar taking its time. And underneath you hear the melodies, right? From the brass, from the keys. Also, I think I'm hearing, in addition to like what I'm hearing in my left headphone with the various organ sounds, I'm hearing, I think, another electric guitar on my right that's sort of like bubbling its way through. Back home, girl. Whoa. That is such a unique song. It's kind of like hard for me to characterize everything that I'm hearing there. I love how this is just like the perfect song though for a feel-good playlist, because it kind of draws from this like, I don't know, like there's a bit of dark jazz in there, but it's so very subtle. It happens on the descending notes and like the lower lower frequencies, but it's still not over the top dark, because what we hear above in that mid to high range is certainly very vibrant, bouncy, energetic, all of the descriptors that I could throw at it. Keeps me bumping along, but then there's always this kind of like counter melody that emerges after the main bounce, whether it's lyrically or from the instrumentation. Love the electric guitar as well. I think it fits right into that vibe. It's almost like, what was that Dave Matthews song? It's almost like I'm on the Louisiana Bayou. Is kind of where I feel like I would be if I were to listen to a song like this. It also reminds me of a band called, and I want to get their name right, I think they're called Streetlight Manifesto. Is that the name? Yeah, Streetlight Manifesto. They're an American ska punk band. I was hesitant to bring up the genre of ska because that's not really one that I'm all too familiar with, but I think there's a bit of influence from there as well. Or maybe it's the other way around and the band influenced ska and Streetlight Manifesto. I don't know all the timelines. Okay, don't rake me over the coals with these facts. All I know is I enjoyed what I heard, and let's hear the next one, Chest Fever. You hear the delay on this organ? Appears on the right. Maybe a bit of John Lord influence here. This kind of melody reminds me a lot of the Grateful Dead, which is interesting. almost like the delay on that hit.
She's been down in the blues, and she's dealt with the blues. Now she drank from big cup. I'm trying to get her together. She was just
It's like a mixture of like rock, gospel, psychedelic rock. At the beginning it was very mysterious, but I think since it's brightened up, I don't feel that same level of mystery in a track like this, but it's like begging for the next section. So as I'm hearing it, it feels like it needs to resolve further ahead, but then we just get the loop again, which keeps us in that trance-like meditative state.
here. I feel she can't be here no more. And my mind and my weak. I feel the freeze down in my knees. But just before she leaves, she receives. It's long, long.
What is happening here?
Gone. I get weary holding on.
Super
Now
slow,
I'm coldly fading fast.
almost like
Don't
lazily.
think I'm gonna last very much longer.
Wow, this is like a unique combo of Deep Purple, Grateful Dead. Cool. I don't know how, I feel like I keep saying this, I don't know how to describe it, but it's chaotic, but at the same time, this melody is like what keeps me tethered. Because there is a lot of like bells and whistles around this melody. Transferred from the organ in the center to this like kind of distorted guitar in the right. It's so smart. Switched, right? Now it's in unison. Oh, no, it's fading. Okay. I think I'm slowly coming to the realization with the band that it's better if I just consume and try to understand. With time, it'll come with this group. Similar to like the Grateful Dead, as I listened to them and I got more acclimated, it became easier for me to identify all of the unique components that were happening at any given time and pay the proper amounts of attention to each of those pieces. Because right now, it's almost like there are so many plates that are spinning in the context of this arrangement. It can be hard to find my home unless it's like with something that as repetitive and catchy as that little melody da 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 played over and over and over, because then I can at least return to home and like notice things relative to that consistent melody. So I'm glad for that. I think with Grateful Dead it was even more complicated because sometimes there isn't even a single melodic motif that persists throughout a track. It is just, Jerry doing Jerry things and going off for like 4 or 5 minutes, and then at a random moment in time that is unbeknownst to even probably the members on that stage, they return to their, structure, whatever that may look like. The band are not an easy group to understand. I don't think by any stretch. So this excites me if we go further down this rabbit hole. And I'll continue to do my best. So let's jump into the last song of the day. This one is Acadian Driftwood. Dare I say it's almost Celtic feeling right now?
War was over and the spirit was broken. The hills were smoking as the men withdrew. We stood on the cliffs and watched the ships slowly sinking to their rendezvous. They signed a treaty and our homes were taken. Loved ones forsaken, they didn't give a damn. Try to raise a family, end up the enemy over what went down on the plains of Abraham. Acadian driftwood, gypsy tailwind, they call my home the land of snow. Canadian cold front, golden in. What a way to ride, oh, what a way to go.
Cool. And is that guitar? Is that organ? Is that like pan flute? I think it's organ. It's like fluttering.
Then some return to.
So far this song is like, it's like as if folk rock is meeting with like historical narrative. I know those aren't like apples to apples. We're just combining those two concepts together because it feels like lyrically the song is about some kind of historical event that is causing people to feel like disenfranchised, almost like they don't belong in the place that they lost. But I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. I think this may require a Google after the fact. Acadian Driftwood.
Then some return to the motherland.
They're returning to the motherland.
The high command had them cast away.
High command cast away.
And some stayed on to finish what they started. They never parted. They're just built that way.
It's definitely historical somehow.
We had kin living south of the border. They're a little older and they've been around. They wrote in a letter, life is a whole lot better. So pull up your stakes, children, and come on down. Acadian driftwood, gypsy tailwind,
Is Acadian an anagram for Canadian? Is it an exact one? Canadian. No, you would need two N's. It was almost so similar. I was thinking, like, if this song is referencing Canada and Acadian, it feels like too too good to be true. I guess it is.
What a way to ride, oh, what a way to go. 15 under zero when the day became a threat. My clothes were wet and I was drenched to the bone. Been out ice fishing, too much repetition. Make a man wanna leave the only home he's known. Sailed out of the Gulf, heading for St. Pierre. Nothing to declare, all we had was gone. Broke down along the coast, oh, but what hurt the most? When the people there said, you better keep moving on. Acadian Driftwood, gypsy tailwind, they call my home the land of snow. Canadian cold run, moving in. What a way to ride, oh, what a way to go.
The strings are like massaging my ears.
Everlasting summer filled with ill content. This government had us walking in chains. This isn't my turf, this ain't my season. Can't think of one good reason to remain. Oh, we worked in the sugar fields up from New Orleans. It was evergreen up until the flood. You could call it an old one, point you where you're going. Set my compass north, I got winter in my blood. Acadian Driftwood, gypsy tailwind, they call my home the land of snow. Canadian cold front, moving in. What a way to ride, oh, what a way to go. Said to Acadian, share the night you fade. J'avais Acadian, fait de l'âme soleil. J'arrive Acadian, tidalum, tidalum, tidalum. J'arrive Acadian, tidalum, tidalum, tidalum.
Not sure what's being said here.
J'arrive Acadian, tidalum, tidalum, tidalum. J'arrive Acadian.
Yeah. Definitely huge emphasis on that fiddle-esque sound. I don't know if it's a fiddle for real or if it's a violin or some other commensurate instrument. It feels like a lot of the string instruments, they do have similar timbres about them, so it can be hard to like disentangle which is which. I like these songs because they feel like this one in particular, to the last one we heard, Acadian Driftwood. It feels oddly nostalgic, and it just reminds me not of a time that I'm familiar with, but of like a time that I have no business being nostalgic about. because in my own like upbringing, I did not listen to a lot of like fiddle music except if it was like a part of a lot of historical documentaries or even like musical theater plays, whenever it would kind of get brought up in those, let's say, sporadic circumstances. So now anytime I hear music that even sounds remotely like that, my brain just like automatically places these songs into a kind of historical bucket, which, for rightly or wrongly, sets me down a different path of expectations. But interestingly, with Acadian Driftwood, it does feel like they actually are referencing something historically. So I'm gonna actually quickly Google and see if I can figure out the meaning of this track here. The band. Interestingly, when I try to Google information about the band, it's so much more challenging to find info on them, because the band, it is a very generic term that applies to bands in general. So it's hard to own the proper noun, the band, and show up with search engines doing their thing. Okay, but apparently Google has found something here. The song narrates the forced exile of the Acadians, French-speaking settlers living in eastern Canada. Okay. Present-day Nova Scotia, New Brunswick, and Prince Edward Island during the Great Expulsion. I've never heard of this. Oh, in the mid-1700s. Okay. Yeah, that is not a part of history I'm familiar with. After refusing to pledge allegiance to the British Crown during colonial conflicts, the Acadians were forcibly removed from their land. Many resettled in places like Louisiana, where their culture evolved into Cajun. There's a lot of history that I need to learn about as it relates to early North America and how that has impacted our culture locally, especially with like Cajun and Louisiana, because there's some artists now that are being requested on the channel that also draw from Cajun culture. So I'm hearing it more and more. And again, it's not something that I like grew up listening to at all. So it is very foreign to me in that sense, but it also excites me greatly because that's like a new avenue of music to explore. And then the last paragraph here, each verse in the song represents a different voice or perspective from among the displaced, sharing memories of home, the pain of leaving, and the disorientation of being a stranger in strange lands. Shout out Iron Maiden. The lyrics shift between English and French-tinged dialects, emphasizing the loss of language and identity. Wow, so I'm assuming then some of the lyrics in the song that I wasn't able to like pick up on weren't actually in English, but actually that French-tinged dialect being referred to here. That is immensely cool. Well, my camera doesn't think so. That will be, I guess, the end of the reaction for y'all today. I hope you enjoyed it. I'd definitely be down to check out more of the band. So if you're interested in my reactions, you can request the band reaction yourself by clicking the first link in the description box below. But as always, my friends, have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care and peace.